Listen to me. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants to shine. Everybody wants the spotlight. But let me tell you something right now. Success has no shortcuts. You can't skip the process. You can't fast forward through the grind. You can't microwave greatness. Success is earned, not handed out. People want the results, but they don't want the work. They want the trophies, but they don't want the training. They want the destination, but they don't want the journey. Hear me. If you cut corners, you cut your own future. Every time you try to cheat the process, you cheat yourself. When I say the grind is mandatory, I'm not throwing around some cute slogan or motivational phrase just to get you hyped for a moment. I'm talking about a lifestyle, a non-negotiable, the foundation of everything you want in life. Too many people keep looking for that one secret, that one hidden trick that will make things easier. But I'm telling you right now, there's no back door to success, no elevator that bypasses the stairs. You have to climb every single step, and that climb is called the grind. The grind is waking up early when your body screams for more sleep. The grind is studying when your friends are out having fun. The grind is showing up to practice, to meetings, to work over and over again, even when you don't feel like it. The grind doesn't care about your feelings. It only respects your consistency. The reason the grind is mandatory is because life is designed to test you. Nothing valuable is given away for free. If it's easy, everybody would have it. That's why you don't see millions of people with six-pack abs, billion-dollar businesses, championship rings, or legendary legacies. Because those things cost something. They cost effort, they cost sacrifice, they cost sweat. And every time you try to skip the grind, you cheat yourself out of that cost. When you don't pay, you don't value. When you don't struggle, you don't appreciate. The grind is what makes you respect success when you get there, because you remember the nights you cried, the mornings you dragged yourself up, the hours you pushed through when no one was clapping for you. The grind is mandatory because it's the only currency that buys greatness. Some people look at others who succeed and they whisper they got lucky. Let me tell you something. Luck might open a door, but only the grind keeps you inside. You could win the lottery tomorrow, but if you don't know how to work, that money will slip away. You could get a big opportunity today, but if you don't have the discipline to prepare, you'll fumble it. The grind is not optional because it's the muscle memory of success. Without it, you can't sustain anything you achieve. Think about athletes. You see them in the spotlight, hitting game-winning shots, scoring touchdowns, breaking records. But what you don't see is the thousands of hours in empty gyms, the repetitions that no one applauded, the sacrifices they made to get there. Those empty gyms are the grind. And guess what? They're mandatory, because without those lonely hours, there is no shining moment under the lights. Now, let's be real. Most people want the rewards without the responsibility. They want the benefits without the burden. They want the results without the repetition. But that's not how life works. The grind is mandatory because it separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the achievers, the average from the exceptional. Everyone has dreams, but not everyone is willing to put in the hours. Everyone has talent, but not everyone is willing to refine it with sweat. Everyone has ideas, but not everyone has the persistence to execute them day after day. That's why the grind is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you come from, who your parents are, or how much money you start with. If you commit to the grind, you can elevate yourself. If you refuse, no amount of luck or talent will save you. The grind is also mandatory because it teaches you things no book, no seminar, no speech can teach you. You learn resilience when you grind. You learn patience when you grind. You learn humility because the grind will knock you down and you have to choose whether to get back up. You learn focus because grinding means repeating the same task until they become second nature. You learn toughness because grinding forces you to push past your limits. And here's the thing, those lessons are not electives. They're core classes in the school of success. You can't graduate without them. That's why the grind is mandatory, because the process is the professor and the lessons can't be skipped. I want you to think about farmers. They don't plant seeds today and expect to harvest tomorrow. They till it ground, they water, they wait, they protect their crops. And only after months of consistent work do they see the fruits. That's the grind. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but it's necessary. Or think about construction. You can't build a skyscraper by rushing the foundation. You have to dig, pour concrete, set steel, make sure every piece is solid. That's the grind. Without it, the building collapses. Your dreams are no different. You can't shortcut the process. If you want something strong, something lasting, you got to put in the work. Some of you are frustrated because you haven't seen results yet. You've been grinding for a few months and you're asking, where's my breakthrough? Listen to me. The grind is mandatory, not just for a season, but for a lifetime. Success doesn't come on your schedule. It comes when the grind has molded you into the person capable of handling it. You don't get to demand the harvest before you've earned it. You keep grinding, you keep showing up, you keep planting seeds, and eventually if you refuse to quit, the results will show. The grind is mandatory because the results are inevitable for those who don't stop. But here's the hardest part. Nobody can grind for you. You can have coaches, mentors, family cheering you on, but at the end of the day, you're the one who has to put in the hours. You're the one who has to study, to practice, to sacrifice. No one can lift the weights for you. No one can run the miles for you. No one can build your dream for you. And that's why so many fail. They keep waiting for someone else to push them, someone else to carry them, someone else to do the work. But champions understand the grind is personal. You have to want it bad enough to do it yourself. The grind is mandatory because life will test your commitment. There will be days when it feels like nothing is working. There will be days when you want to quit, when you question if it's worth it. And in those moments, the grind is the only thing that keeps you moving. Not inspiration, not hype, not motivation. The grind, the decision you made that no matter how you feel, you will keep going. That's why I tell people, fall in love with the grind, not the goal. Because goals will shift, seasons will change, but the grind is forever. If you build the habit of grinding, success will follow you in every area of life. School, business, relationships, health. So understand me clearly. The grind is not optional. It's not something you do when it's convenient. It's not something you do when you feel like it. It's mandatory. You either commit to it or you settle for mediocrity. There is no in between. And here's the mediocrity is crowded, but greatness is lonely. That's why the grind feels hard, because so few are willing to walk that path. But if you choose to embrace it, to own it, to commit to it, you will separate yourself from the crowd. You will earn what others only dream about. Success has no shortcuts, and the grind is the proof. Every great story, every great champion, every great leader has a chapter called struggle, a chapter called discipline, a chapter called sacrifice. That chapter is written with sweat, with sleepless nights, with endless repetition, and without it, the story is incomplete. That's why the grind is mandatory. It's not punishment, it's preparation. It's not cruelty, it's crafting. It's shaping you into the kind of person who can carry success without collapsing under its weight. So stop looking for the easy way. Stop searching for a shortcut. Stop waiting for luck. Commit to the grind. Embrace the grind. Live the grind. Because the grind is not just part of success. The grind is success. Discipline beats motivation every single time, because motivation is like a spark, but discipline is the firewood that keeps the flame alive. Motivation feels good. It gives you that rush of energy. It makes you excited to start something new. But the truth is, motivation is inconsistent. Some days you wake up feeling inspired, ready to conquer the world, but other days you wake up tired, drained, unbothered. If you rely only on motivation, you'll only work when it feels good, and that means you'll quit the moment it gets tough. Discipline, on the other hand, is showing up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is telling yourself, I don't care if I'm tired. I don't care if I'm bored. I don't care if nobody's watching. I'm going to do it anyway. That's why discipline will always outlast motivation. Discipline doesn't care about feelings. It cares about commitment. People love to get motivated. They go to seminars, they watch videos, they listen to speeches, and for a moment they're on fire. But what happens the next morning when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and the bed feels too comfortable? Motivation will whisper, stay in bed. Discipline will drag you out anyway. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. It's built through repetition, through habit, through choosing action over excuses again and again until it becomes part of who you are. That's why the most successful people in the world don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems, routines, and habits that keep them moving forward, even when they don't feel motivated. They know discipline is the muscle that pushes them through the days motivation abandons them. Discipline beats motivation because success is not built in one big exciting burst. It's built brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. Motivation may help you lay the first brick, but only discipline will keep you laying bricks when the work feels endless. Think about fitness. Everyone feels motivated on January 1st. They sign up for the gym, they buy new clothes, they post about their goals. But by February, most of that motivation is gone. The people still showing up in March, April, December, those are the disciplined ones. They don't need hype, they don't need applause, they just don't need inspiration. They made a decision and stuck to it. That's why their bodies change, their strength grows, and their lives improve. Motivation started the journey, but discipline finished it. Discipline is also what builds trust with yourself. When you rely on motivation, you break promises to yourself every time you don't feel like it. You say, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes never. But when you build discipline, you start keeping promises to yourself. You say, I'll wake up early, and you do it. You say, I'll work on my dream every day, and you show up. Over time, that builds confidence. You stop doubting yourself because you have proof that you can follow through. Discipline isn't just about actions, it's about identity. You start to see yourself as someone who finishes what they start, someone who can be trusted, someone who doesn't quit. That inner belief is more powerful than any motivational speech because it comes from experience, not hype. Another reason discipline beats motivation is that life is unpredictable. There will be days when you're stressed, when you're tired, when problems weigh you down, when nothing goes as planned. If you depend on motivation, you'll fold under that pressure. You'll say, I don't feel like it, and let circumstances dictate your actions. But discipline doesn't negotiate with feelings or circumstances. Discipline says, I made a commitment, and I'm going to honor it no matter what. That kind of mindset makes you unstoppable because no matter what life throws at you, you won't stop moving forward. Discipline is your anchor when the storms come. Motivation is a balloon that floats away the moment the winds change. Discipline is also about long-term vision. Motivation is about the now. It gets you excited about starting. Discipline keeps you focused on the bigger picture. It reminds you that the grind today is shaping the future tomorrow. It reminds you that sacrifice today creates freedom tomorrow. Without discipline, you chase temporary feelings and instant gratification. With discipline, you delay pleasure because you know the long-term reward is greater. That's why disciplined people achieve greatness while motivated people burn out. Motivation makes you excited about the goal, but discipline makes you consistent with the process. And success always belongs to the consistent, not the occasional. Think about champions in sports, in business, in life. Do you think they feel motivated every day? Do you think every morning they wake up with fire in their chest and joy in their heart to go through painful practices, endless hours of work, sleepless nights? Of course not. But they do it anyway because discipline has trained them to show up regardless of emotion. Kobe Bryant didn't practice for hours before dawn because he felt motivated every morning. He did it because he had the discipline to commit to excellence. Serena Williams didn't win Grand Slams by relying on motivation. She won because discipline drove her to keep pushing even when her body was sore, even when the crowd doubted her. These people reached greatness because they chose discipline over fleeting motivation. Here's the truth. Motivation is like a visitor. It shows up, gives you energy, and then leaves. Discipline is like a permanent resident. It stays with you, it shapes you, it builds you. You cannot build a life, a career, or a legacy on something as temporary as motivation. You need discipline because discipline is loyalty to your goals. It's faithfulness to your future. It's love for the process, not just excitement for the outcome. Discipline beats motivation because motivation is about feelings, but discipline is about principles. Feelings change, but principles stay. Discipline also transforms you in ways motivation never can. Motivation might change your day, but discipline changes your life. Every time you push through when you don't feel like it, you're rewiring your brain, you're strengthening your willpower, you're creating a version of yourself that is stronger, tougher, and more resilient. That's why discipline people achieve what others call impossible. They've trained themselves to keep going long after the feeling is gone. And when others quit, they continue. When others get distracted, they stay focused. When others make excuses, they execute. That's what makes the difference. Not bursts of motivation, but years of discipline. So many people waste time waiting for motivation. They say, I'll start when I feel ready. I work when I feel inspired. But discipline doesn't wait. Discipline acts now. Discipline says, whether I feel like it or not, I'm going to take one more step today.
And step by step, day by day, those small actions compound into massive results. Motivation gets you excited about the dream, but discipline makes the dream real.
And here's the truth. Once you embrace discipline, you don't need to chase motivation anymore, because the results of discipline will fuel you more than any speech or video could. The progress you see, the strength you build, the growth you experience that becomes your new source of energy. Discipline beats motivation because discipline is freedom. It may sound strange, but discipline sets you free. When you're disciplined with your health, you're free from sickness and weakness. When you're disciplined with your money, you're free from debt and stress. When you're disciplined with your time, you're free from wasting it on meaningless distractions. Motivation doesn't give you freedom, it just gives you feelings. Discipline gives you results. And results are what create freedom in every area of life. At the end of the day, you need to make a choice. Do you want to be someone who only acts when it feels good? Or do you want to be someone who acts no matter what? Do you want to live in cycles of hype and burnout? Or do you want to build steady progress that lasts? If you choose discipline, you choose growth, consistency, and victory. Motivation will come and go, but discipline will carry you across the finish line. And when you look back at your life, you won't remember the moments you felt motivated. You'll remember the days you didn't feel like it, but did it anyway. That's where pride is built. That's where character is forged. That's where success is earned. Discipline beats motivation every time, because discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you committed to. Discipline doesn't care about moods. It cares about mission. Discipline doesn't wait for inspiration. It creates momentum. Motivation can start the engine, but discipline drives the car all the way to the destination. If you want success, don't just chase motivation, build discipline, because motivation might get you started, but only discipline will make sure you finish. Consistency is the shortcut, because if there's one thing that separates those who make it from those who don't, it's not always talent, it's not always intelligence, it's not even opportunity. It's the ability to show up every single day, no matter what. People keep asking for hacks, for secrets, for quick ways to success. But the truth is, the closest thing to a shortcut is consistency. When you do something over and over again, day after day, week after week, you build momentum. That momentum compounds, and eventually it becomes unstoppable. Most people never reach their potential, not because they aren't capable, but because they aren't consistent. They start strong, they get excited, they make promises to themselves, but then they fall off when the motivation fades or when results don't come fast. Enough. Consistency is the bridge between the dream and the reality. Without it, you'll always be stuck on the side of wishful thinking. The reason consistency is so powerful is because it creates habits. When you repeat something long enough, it stops being a decision and becomes part of who you are. At first, waking up early feels hard. Going to the gym feels like a battle. Studying every night feels exhausting. But if you do it consistently, eventually it becomes normal. You don't think about it anymore. You just do it. That's the beauty of consistency. It rewires your brain and your body to align with your goals. You no longer rely on willpower alone, because your routine carries you forward. And that's where most people fail. They quit before they cross that line where the habit becomes automatic. They keep starting and stopping and wonder why they don't see results. Consistency doesn't give you instant results, but it guarantees eventual results if you don't quit. Think about compound interest. You invest a small amount of money regularly, and over time, it grows into something huge. Consistency works the same way with effort. Every workout, every practice, every hour of studying, every page of writing, they may feel small in the moment, almost insignificant, but stack them day after day, and over months and years, the results explode. The problem is most people quit too soon because they don't see immediate payoff. They go to the gym for 2 weeks, and don't see a six-pack, so they stop. They write for a month and don't have a bestseller, so they give up. They work on their business for a year and don't become rich, so they walk away. But success doesn't come to those who dabble. It comes to those who stay. Consistency is the big shortcut. Because if you stick with it long enough, what feels like small, invisible progress eventually turns into undeniable results. Consistency also builds trust with others. When people see you show up day after day, they start to believe in you. They know you're reliable. They know you're serious. Opportunities open up for consistent people because consistency communicates commitment. In relationships, in business, in leadership, in personal growth, people are drawn to those who can be counted on. On the flip side, inconsistency destroys trust. If you only show up when you feel like it, nobody can rely on you, not even yourself. That's why consistency isn't just about results. It's about reputation. You become known as the person who delivers, the person who doesn't quit, the person who can be trusted with responsibility. And once people trust you, doors open that talent alone could never unlock. Another reason consistency is the shortcut is because it separates you from the crowd. Most people are inconsistent. Most people don't finish what they start. Most people only commit when it's easy, when it's convenient, when it's exciting. If you decide to be consistent, you immediately place yourself in the top few percent of people chasing the same dream. Talent can get crowded, motivation can get crowded, but consistency thins the field. You don't have to outshine everybody on day one. You just have to outlast them. Over time, the people who quit will fall away and you'll still be standing. That's how champions are made, not in bursts of brilliance, but in years of relentless consistency. Consistency is also the teacher of mastery. You can't master anything without repetition, whether it's playing an instrument, shooting a basketball, coding a program, or speaking in public. Mastery comes from doing it again and again until it becomes second nature. You can't skip that. No book, no video, no hack will replace the hours of consistent practice required to get good at something. That's why the shortcut is consistency, because when you do the same thing thousands of times, you refine it, you sharpen it, you understand it on a deeper level. Consistency makes you an expert, and expertise makes you valuable. And when you're valuable, success chases you instead of you chasing it. Now let's talk about resilience. Consistency builds resilience because it forces you to push through even when life gets in the way. There will always be distractions, always be problems, always be days when you don't feel like it. But if you're committed to consistency, you learn how to adapt, how to manage your time, how to prioritize. You learn that missing one day doesn't mean quitting. It means getting back up the next day. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. Too many people aim for perfection and then quit when they miss a step. But the consistent ones understand as long as they keep moving, as long as they keep showing up, they will reach the destination. That resilience is priceless, and it only comes from practicing consistency. Consistency is also about building momentum. At first, it feels hard, slow, frustrating, but the more you do something, the easier it becomes. You build systems, you gain experience, you get faster, smarter, better. Momentum makes the grind smoother because the energy you build from past consistency fuels future actions. It's like pushing a heavy ball uphill. At first, it takes everything you've got, but once it crests the hill, momentum carries it forward almost effortlessly. That's what happens when you stay consistent long enough. You don't just rely on willpower anymore. The momentum of your past efforts carries you towards your goals. Consistency also changes how you see yourself. When you keep promises to yourself consistently, you build self-respect. You no longer see yourself as someone who quits or fails, but as someone who follows through. That identity shift is huge because once you believe you are consistent, it becomes natural to act consistently. And when your identity aligns with your actions, success becomes inevitable. On the other hand, inconsistency destroys self-confidence. Every time you quit on yourself, you send a message to your brain that you can't be trusted. That's why so many people struggle with self-belief, not because they aren't capable, but because they've broken too many promises to themselves. Consistency heals that. It rebuilds your trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself, you can take on anything. The truth is, consistency is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not always fun. It's boring sometimes. It's repetitive. It's uncelebrated. But that's the secret, because most people run from boredom. They want excitement. They want constant stimulation. They want every day to feel like progress. But consistency teaches you that true progress is often invisible. It's the small, unsexy steps that nobody sees that create the breakthroughs everyone admires later. Consistency is the shortcut, because it's the one thing most people are unwilling to do for long enough. And if you're willing, you'll stand out, you'll grow, you'll succeed. So stop chasing hacks. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop quitting every time it feels slow. Commit to consistency. Commit to showing up every day, even if it's just one small step. Over weeks and months and years, those steps will add up to something massive. You may not notice the progress in the moment, but one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. That's the real shortcut, not skipping the work, but repeating the work until it worked. News itself transforms you. Consistency is the shortcut, because it guarantees that if you keep going, you'll eventually get there. Not faster than everyone else, but more surely than everyone else. And in the end, certainty beats speed. Consistency wins. Pain is part of the process, and until you understand that, you will always look at challenges as signs that you're failing instead of signs that you're growing. Too many people want success without struggle, victories without battles, achievements without obstacles, but that's not how life works. The truth is, pain is not punishment pain, it's preparation. Every great story, every great accomplishment, every person who has done something significant has walked through pain to get there. You cannot separate success from struggle. They are two sides of the same coin. You either accept the pain of the process now, or you will suffer the pain of regret later. And the pain of regret weighs 1,000 times more than the pain of discipline. When you set out to achieve something meaningful, you are stepping into unknown territory. That territory is filled with obstacles designed to test you. Pain shows up in many forms. Physical pain from pushing your body beyond its limits. Emotional pain from failing again and again. Mental pain from fighting doubt. Financial pain from investing everything with no guarantee of return. It hurts. It drains you. It makes you question if it's worth it. But that's the exact reason it's part of the process. Because it separates the people who want it casually from the people who want it desperately. Pain is the price tag on success. If you're willing to pay, you can have it. If you're not, you walk away empty-handed. Think about the gym. Muscles don't grow without resistance. You lift weights, and in a moment it hurts. Your muscles tear on a microscopic level. You leave sore, exhausted, sometimes questioning why you even showed up. But give it time, and those tears heal stronger. The soreness fades, and your body transforms. The pain wasn't punishment, it was growth. The same is true in every area of life. When you feel pain in the process, it means you're stretching, you're growing, you're breaking old limits and building new ones. Without pain, you stay the same. Pain is the proof that progress is happening, even if you don't see it yet. The reason most people quit is not because they lack talent, but because they can't endure pain. They hit a wall, they experience failure, they feel discomfort, and instead of embracing it as part of the process, they run from it. They think pain means stop, but champions know pain means go. Champions understand that. Every time they push through pain, they're building toughness, resilience, and character that nobody can take from them. Success is not about avoiding pain. It's about managing it, carrying it, learning from it, and using it as fuel. Pain is also the great teacher. It humbles you. It forces you to confront your weaknesses. When you fail, when you fall short, when you get knocked down, pain shows you where you need to grow. Success doesn't teach you much, but pain does. Pain shows you your blind spots. Pain exposes the cracks in your mindset, your habits, your discipline. And when you face it instead of running, you learn how to patch those cracks, how to improve, how to become stronger. That's why pain is not just part of the process. It is the process. Without it, you never evolve. Without it, you stay soft, fragile, unprepared. Pain forges you into someone capable of handling success when it arrives. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. Their schedule is brutal. Their body aches, their mind is exhausted, their social life is non-existent, every day is pain. But that pain is necessary because the stage they're preparing for requires the highest level of excellence. If they avoid the pain of training, they'll crumble under the pressure of competition. The pain they endure daily is what allows them to shine in the moment that matters most. The same principle applies to your dreams. If you want something extraordinary, you have to endure extraordinary pain to prepare you for it. Pain also gives you perspective. When you've been through struggle, when you've survived storms, when you've felt broken but refused to quit, you develop a deeper appreciation for the victories. The success means more because you know the costs. People who have never struggled often take things for granted. But those who have fought through pain cherish every milestone. Pain gives meaning to the prize. Without it, the prize feels cheap. With it, the prize feels priceless. That's why many who succeed after great struggle become the most grateful, the most grounded, the most inspiring, because their pain gave them perspective that success alone could not. Pain also bonds people. You meet others who have struggled like you, and you immediately share a connection. Teams bond through tough practices. Soldiers bond through battles. Families bond through hardships. Pain creates unity because it strips away the superficial and reveals the truth of who you are. When you struggle with others, you grow together. And when you succeed, the victory feels sweeter because it's shared with those who understand the pain you endured. But here's the part people don't always want to. You cannot choose whether you experience pain in life. Pain is unavoidable. You only get to choose which pain you endure. You can endure the pain of discipline, the pain of sacrifice, the pain of hard work, the pain of delayed gratification, or you can endure the pain of regret, the pain of wasted potential, the pain of watching others succeed while you wonder what could have been. Both are painful, but only one leads to growth. The other leaves you empty. The smart ones choose the pain of the process because they know it's temporary and leads to something better. The pain of regret lasts forever. Pain is also a filter. It weeds out the people who aren't serious. Everybody loves the idea of success, but only a few are willing to pay the price. Pain reveals who's committed. If you keep going when it hurts, you prove you're ready. If you quit, you prove you only wanted the prize, not the process. Success doesn't go to the most talented or the most lucky. It goes to the ones who endure the most pain without breaking. That's why you'll often see people from difficult backgrounds rise to greatness. They've already been through pain. They've already been forged in fire. When new struggles come, they don't run. They've learned to live with pain and use it as fuel. Pain is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. When you feel it, you should remind yourself, this is the process. This is the price. This is the path. You should welcome it as confirmation that you're moving forward. Because the truth is, if you're not experiencing any pain, you're not growing. Comfort zones don't create champions. Easy paths don't create leaders. Smooth roads don't lead to extraordinary destinations. The path to greatness is paved with pain, and those who learn to walk it with resilience are the ones who arrive at their goals. So the next time you feel like quitting because it hurt, remind yourself that pain is part of the process. The soreness in your body, the frustration in your mind, the obstacles in your way, they are not signs that you should stop. They are signs that you are on the right track. The pain is proof that you're pushing beyond what you thought you could do. The pain is proof that you're breaking through barriers. The pain is proof that success is on the other side. You don't run from it, you run through it. You don't avoid it, you embrace it. You don't curse it, you thank it. Because the pain is not there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. And when you finally reach the goal, when you finally taste success, when you finally look back at the journey, you'll realize that the pain was worth it. Every sacrifice, every struggle, every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you wanted to quit, but didn't it all adds up to make the victory sweeter? Pain is part of the process, and the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you'll stop running from struggle and start running towards success. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. And when we talk about success, discipline is the element that separates those who dream from those who execute. Many people want success, they envision it, they crave it, but very few are willing to live disciplined enough to earn it. Discipline isn't about one grand act, it's about the consistency of small, deliberate choices made day in and day out that compound into massive results over time. Without discipline, motivation fades, ambition weakens, and goals remain unfulfilled promises to oneself. Discipline is not glamorous, it's not always celebrated, and it rarely feels comfortable in the moment, but it is always the invisible backbone of greatness. Every achievement you admire in others is built upon unseen hours of disciplined effort when no one was watching, applauding, or even believing. The truth about discipline is that it's not something you wait to feel, it's something you decide to live by. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never accomplish anything significant. Success doesn't care about your feelings, it cares about your actions. Discipline requires you to move forward, even when the excitement is gone, even when the rewards seem far away, and even when fatigue whispers, stop. The successful are not always more talented, smarter, or luckier than others. They are often just the ones who chose to show up consistently with discipline. They mastered the art of following through on their commitments to themselves. When you make promises to yourself and keep them, you build self-respect, and that respect becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. Without discipline, you betray yourself, and nothing destroys potential faster than self-betrayal. Think about the champions, the inventors, the entrepreneurs, the athletes, and the leaders who inspire the world. They didn't achieve their greatness by dabbling when it was convenient. They built a lifestyle of discipline. An athlete wakes up before dawn, day after day, to train while the world sleeps. An entrepreneur sacrifices comfort and distraction to build systems and businesses that eventually serve thousands. A student who chooses to study when friends are partying is exercising discipline that later pays off in career opportunities. Each of these examples shows us that discipline may look like sacrifice in the present, but it always multiplies into freedom in the future. Discipline is delayed gratification in its purest form, choosing a hard thing today so you can enjoy the rewards tomorrow. The challenge with discipline is that it's often invisible. People don't see the 5 a.m. workouts, the countless hours of studying, or the weekends spent learning instead of relaxing. What they see are the medals, the degrees, the wealth, and the prestige. But none of those outcomes exist without the grind of discipline. If you envy the outcome without embracing the process, you chasing an illusion. The process is discipline, and without it, success is a mirage. Discipline teaches you to love the process, not just the result, because the process is what shapes you into the person capable of sustaining success. Anyone can get lucky once, but discipline ensures that success is not just achieved, it's maintained. Another truth about discipline is that it creates clarity. When you live discipline, you eliminate distractions because you're focused on what truly matters. You don't waste time on meaningless activities because discipline makes you intentional. It forces you to prioritize. Every hour is accounted for. Every action is aligned with your goals. Discipline turns chaos into order, confusion into structure. That structure becomes the framework within which success can grow. Without discipline, you may have bursts of progress, but you'll also have long stretches of regression. Discipline removes the back and forth, it removes the inconsistency, and it keeps you moving forward when others are stuck in cycles of starting and quitting. People often misunderstand discipline, thinking it is about restriction or loss of freedom. But discipline is not prison, it is liberation. The person without discipline is a slave to their impulses, their laziness, and their distractions. The disciplined person, on the other hand, has control. They have the power to choose long-term benefit over short-term comfort. That is real freedom, the freedom to live the life you desire, not the life dictated by your whims. Discipline is hard in the moment, yes, but regret is far heavier than discipline ever will be. You can choose the discomfort of discipline now or the pain of regret later, but one way or another, you will pay. Only one payment, however, yields a reward worth having. One of the key lessons about discipline is that it breeds momentum. When you practice discipline consistently, it becomes habit, and habits shape identity. If you discipline yourself to wake up early, over time it stops feeling like a battle and starts becoming who you are. If you discipline yourself to eat healthy, to train, to study, to focus, eventually it becomes second nature. Momentum works both ways. Lack of discipline creates habits of laziness, excuses, and mediocrity. Discipline, however, creates habits of strength, perseverance, and excellence. Once momentum is in your favor, success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. It's also worth noting that discipline doesn't have to be perfect. People think they must never falter, never miss a day, never stumble. But discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about coming back stronger after a slip. The person who disciplines themselves for years but misses a day here and there will always outshine the person who starts over every few weeks. Discipline is about consistency, not perfection. It's about stacking good days, not requiring flawless ones. Every time you get back on track after failure, your discipline strengthens. Failure is not the opposite of discipline. Quitting is. Finally, discipline is contagious. When you live discipline, you inspire others without even trying. People will notice your consistency, your results, your resilience, and they'll begin to emulate it. Discipline is leadership in action. It shows others that success is possible, not through luck or shortcuts, but through deliberate living. Discipline becomes a legacy you leave behind because others will learn from your example long after your words are forgotten. That's why discipline is the backbone of every movement, every great achievement, every legacy worth remembering. At the end of the day, success is built brick by brick, and discipline is the hand that lays each brick. Without discipline, your foundation is weak and the structure of your dreams will collapse. With discipline, however, you can weather storms, setbacks, and challenges because your foundation is unshakable. It's not about waiting for the perfect conditions, the perfect timing, or the perfect motivation. It's about building a disciplined mindset that makes progress non-negotiable. Success has no shortcuts, but discipline makes the long road possible, and it makes the destination inevitable. The real question is not whether you want success, but whether you're willing to live disciplined enough to earn it. When you think about success, it's easy to look at the highlight reels of people who made it big, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the entertainers, the leaders, and assume that maybe they had some kind of secret path that fast-tracked them to where they are. But the truth is, every person who has achieved real, lasting success has one thing in common. They had to endure pain, struggle, and setbacks before they ever saw the glory. Success demands a price, and that price is often discomfort, sacrifice, and moments when you feel like quitting. But it's in those very moments of difficulty that success is forged. It doesn't come from shortcuts, and it doesn't come from skipping the grind. It comes from embracing the struggle, because struggle shapes you into the person capable of handling the success you're chasing. Think about it. If success were easy, if it required no pain, no sweat, no tears, then everyone would have it. But everyone doesn't. Why? Because most people are unwilling to push through the uncomfortable seasons. They want the results without the process. They want the rewards without the grind. They want the victory without the battle. But it doesn't work like that. The pain is the price of admission. The struggle is the proving ground. And the people who are willing to walk through it, to endure it, to keep moving when it hurts, that's the small group that gets to taste the real sweetness of success. Every great athlete knows this truth. When you see them holding up trophies, standing on podiums, or breaking records, what you don't see is the early mornings, the sleepless nights, the sore muscles, the injuries, the sweat dripping off their faces, and empty gyms when no one is watching. You don't see the tears they cried after losing, or the moments of doubt when they questioned if it was even worth it. That part isn't glamorous, so people overlook it. But that's the real foundation of success, the pain that was endured long before the spotlight ever found them. The same principle applies to every area of life. In business, success doesn't come from wishing for customers or lucking into opportunities. It comes from long nights of planning, failed pitches, rejected proposals, money lost, and lessons learned the hard way. It comes from being willing to risk, to fail, and to get back up again when most would stay down. In academics, success doesn't come from skimming the book the night before the test. It comes from hours of studying, sacrificing time with friends, and redoing assignments until you understand. Even in relationships, success doesn't come from fairy tale moments. It comes from hard conversations, forgiveness, sacrifice, and the willingness to fight for something when it would be easier to walk away. What makes the struggle so powerful is that it changes you. The pain isn't just random suffering, it's shaping your character, sharpening your discipline, and preparing you for what's ahead. Think about a seed. If you plant it in the soil, it doesn't grow into a tree overnight. First, it has to break through the dirt, endure pressure, survive storms, and stretch its roots deep into the ground. That process looks messy and painful, but without it, the tree could never stand tall. You're the same way. Without the struggle, without the resistance, without the setbacks, you'd never build the strength to handle the success you're asking for. Here's what's dangerous: trying to avoid the struggle. That's what shortcuts really are. Ways to escape the pain, to skip the hard parts. But when you skip the process, you also skip the growth. And if you skip the growth, you might get success, but you won't be able to sustain it. That's why so many people who cheat their way up or who luck into opportunities without preparation end up falling just as quickly as they rose. They didn't go through the fire that would have refined them. They didn't develop the endurance that's necessary to hold the weight of success. One of the hardest truths to accept is that sometimes your struggle will last longer than you thought it would. You'll give everything you have, and it still won't happen as quickly as you hoped. You'll sacrifice and still face rejection. You'll put in effort and still fall short. That's the breaking point for most people. They interpret the delay as denial and they quit. But the ones who keep going, who understand that struggle is not a punishment, but a preparation, those are the ones who win in the end. Struggle teaches resilience. When you've been through enough pain and still survive, you stop fearing challenges because you know they won't break you. Struggle teaches creativity. When the easy doors don't open, you learn how to find another way in, how to create opportunities instead of waiting for them. Struggle teaches humility. It reminds you that success isn't owed to you, that you have to work for it, and that when you get it, you should never take it for granted. Struggle teaches appreciation. Because once you've crawled through the mud, once you've been through the fire, once you've cried yourself to sleep over and over again, the day success finally comes. It means more. It's sweeter. It's deeper. Because you know what it cost you and you know you earned it. Think about the butterfly. Before it spreads its wings and flies, it has to struggle inside the cocoon, pushing and fighting against the walls. If you tried to help the butterfly by cutting the cocoon open, it would never develop the strength in its wings to fly. It would come out too weak to survive. That struggle is necessary for its transformation. Your struggle is the same. It may feel like it's crushing you, but it's actually preparing you. It may feel like it's unfair, but it's equipping you. And when the time is right, you'll spread your wings and soar, but only if you embrace the struggle instead of running from it. The reality is, pain is not the enemy. Struggle is not the enemy. They are the tools of success. They are the chisels that carve you into the person capable of carrying the vision you've been given. Every setback you face, every door that closes, every disappointment that breaks your heart, it's all part of the training. It's not designed to destroy you, it's designed to build you. And when you shift your mindset from seeing struggle as something to avoid to seeing it as something to embrace, everything changes. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me? That's when you know you're on the right path. Success has no shortcuts because shortcuts rob you of the very thing that makes success meaningful, the process. The process is where the lessons are. The process is where the strength is built. The process is where you become the kind of person who not only achieves success, but keeps it, grows it, and uses it to make an impact. So don't run from the struggle. Don't resent the pain. Lean into it, trust it, embrace it. Because on the other side of the struggle is not just the success you're chasing, it's the stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you that you never would have met if you hadn't gone through the fire. Discipline is the bridge that connects where you are to where you want to be, and without it, no dream can survive the weight of time, struggle, or temptation. Discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't sparkle, it doesn't shine, and it rarely gets celebrated. It is the quiet, consistent choice to do what you said you would do long after. The mood you made the promise and has left you, and that's what makes it so hard, yet so powerful. Success has no shortcuts because success demands discipline, and those who think they can bypass it eventually learn the hard truth. Without discipline, nothing lasts. You might stumble into a lucky break. You might enjoy a temporary victory, but to sustain greatness, to stand on a firm foundation, discipline is non-negotiable. Think about it. Discipline is the daily grind. It's waking up early when you don't feel like it. It's saying no to distractions when everyone around you is indulging. It's pushing through the pain when your body tells you to quit and your mind screams for comfort. Discipline is sacrifice in action. It's choosing the long-term gain over the short-term pleasure, the delayed gratification over the instant hit of satisfaction. Most people fail not because they don't have talent or intelligence, but because they lack the discipline to stay consistent. Talent without discipline is wasted potential. Intelligence without discipline is untapped possibility. But discipline turns ordinary into extraordinary, average into excellence, and impossible into inevitable. Discipline is what creates habits, and habits create outcomes. The person who disciplines themselves to read every day builds knowledge that compounds over time. The athlete who disciplines themselves to train relentlessly becomes unstoppable when the game is on the line. The entrepreneur who disciplines themselves to stay focused, work hard, and make sacrifices builds businesses that endure when others collapse. Success is not about one giant leap. It's about small, disciplined steps repeated over time. Every rep, every page, every hour of work adds up, and discipline ensures that you don't stop halfway. The truth is, everyone has a moment of inspiration. Everyone gets motivated at some point. You hear a speech, you read a book, you attend a seminar, and suddenly you fired up. But motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline, however, is not dependent on emotion. It doesn't matter if you're motivated or not. Discipline tells you to get it done anyway. It's the voice inside that says, I don't care how you feel, do it. And when you obey that voice consistently, you begin to build the muscle of self-control. Discipline, like any muscle, grows stronger the more you use it. The stronger it gets, the easier it becomes to stay on track, even when everything inside you wants to quit. What separates the great from the average isn't that the greats are always motivated, it's that they are disciplined. Michael Jordan didn't feel like practicing every day, but he disciplined himself to show up. Serena Williams didn't win all her matches because she was in the mood to train. She trained because she had discipline. Eric Thomas himself didn't rise from homelessness to inspiring millions because motivation magically carried. He disciplined himself to wake up at 3 a.m., study, grind, and push every single day. Discipline doesn't guarantee comfort, but it guarantees progress. And when progress compounds, success is the result. The hardest part of discipline is that it requires you to fight yourself daily. You are your own biggest enemy, your excuses, your comfort zone, your distractions, your procrastination. Discipline forces you to confront those weaknesses and overpower them. It demands self-control when temptation whispers. It demands focus when the world screams for your attention. It demands resilience when quitting looks easier. But every time you choose discipline over weakness, you win a battle within yourself. And those small victories pile up until one day you realize you've built a fortress of strength, integrity, and resilience. Let's be honest, discipline is lonely. While others are out partying, you're grinding. While others are sleeping, you're working. While others are chasing temporary pleasures, you're building permanent success. People will question you. They'll call you obsessed, boring, too focused. They won't understand why you're sacrificing so much now. But when the results come, when the dream becomes reality, when you're standing in a place they only fantasize about, you'll know the loneliness was worth it. Because discipline may isolate you for a season, but it elevates you for a lifetime. Discipline also teaches humility. It reminds you that greatness is not about entitlement, but about earning it. Every day you discipline yourself, you acknowledge that success doesn't owe you anything, you have to work for it. And the more disciplined you become, the more you respect the process. You begin to realize that shortcuts are illusions, and the only real path forward is through consistency and sacrifice. Discipline strips away arrogance and builds character. It molds you into someone who doesn't just chase results, but embraces the journey. Think of discipline as the currency you pay daily to buy your future. You can't pay it all at once, and you can't borrow it. You pay it one choice, one action, one sacrifice at a time. The undisciplined want the reward without paying the price, but life doesn't work that way. Life collects its dues up front, and discipline is the payment plan. If you don't pay it, you don't get the prize. And even if you somehow stumble into it, you won't be able to keep it, because without discipline, you'll lose what you gain. That's why so many people reach success only to fall back. They lack the discipline to maintain what they achieve. In the end, discipline is freedom. It may feel restrictive at first. You can't eat what you want. You can't spend how you want. You can't sleep when you want. But discipline gives you freedom that the undisciplined never taste. The disciplined body is free from disease. The disciplined mind is free from chaos. The disciplined wallet is free from debt. And the disciplined life is free to chase dreams without limits. Success has no shortcuts because discipline is the path and there's no way around it. You either embrace it or you settle for mediocrity. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It's the tool that allows you to build a life you're proud of, to create a future that inspires others, and to become the best version of yourself. Without it, dreams die quickly. With it, even the most impossible dreams become inevitable. Success is reserved for those who are disciplined enough to keep going when it's hard, to push when it hurts, and to stay consistent when the excitement fades. If you can master discipline, you can master life. And once you do, you'll never look for shortcuts again, because you'll know the long, disciplined road was always the only road worth traveling. Life has a way of testing us through seasons of difficulty, challenges, and storms that often come unannounced and shake the very foundation we stand on. The truth is, no one can escape hardships. They are part of the journey. But the difference between those who rise and those who stay down is not the storm itself, it is the choice they make in the middle of that storm. Some allow the weight of their struggles to crush them, while others use the same weight to build strength. When we understand that every storm carries within it a lesson, an opportunity, and a chance to become stronger, we stop running from challenges and begin embracing them. The very thing that looks like it is sent to destroy, you can actually be the thing that develops you into the person you were always meant to be. Hardships are not always punishments. Sometimes they are preparations. The fire is not there to burn you, but to refine you. And the storm is not there to don't drown you, but to teach you how to swim against the current. When you look at the stories of the greatest people who have walked this earth, you will notice a common thread running through their journeys. They all went through adversity that tested their faith, their patience, and their determination. The athlete who stands on the podium, the entrepreneur who builds a company from nothing, the student who becomes the first in their family to graduate, the leader who inspires nations. All of them carry scars from battles fought in silence. They endured nights when it seemed easier to quit, mornings when getting up felt like the hardest thing in the world, and moments when no one believed in them. Yet they pressed forward. They made a decision to turn their pain into fuel, their struggles into stepping stones, and their trials into testimonies. If you listen closely, every scar tells a story of resilience, of not giving up when the world whispered that it was over. Those scars are not marks of weakness. They are medals of survival and perseverance. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you build choice by choice, day by day, in the way you respond to the obstacles in front of you. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. The storm may be bigger than you, but your spirit can be stronger than the storm. Resilience is about refusing to be defined by your difficulties. It is about looking at what you have been through and saying, this is not the end of me. This is the beginning of a stronger version of me. Every time you refuse to give in to fear, every time you decide to take another step when your legs feel heavy, every time you choose hope, when despair knocks at your door, you are building resilience. It is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And just like physical training, it often hurts in the moment, but the strength you gain stays with you for a lifetime. When life knocks you down, resilience is what helps you get back up. Not once or twice, but as many times as it takes. Think about how many people quit just one step before the breakthrough. They let the weight of the struggle convince them that it is not worth it, when in reality, the darkest hour is often just before dawn. Resilience allows you to see past the temporary pain and focus on the bigger picture. It teaches you patience, endurance, and discipline. It shapes your character in ways comfort never can. Comfort zones may feel safe, but nothing grows there. Growth happens in the tension, in the struggle, in the fire that forces you to adapt, to push forward, and to evolve into a better version of yourself. There will be moments when you feel alone in your struggle, when no one seems to understand the depth of the pain you carry. But remember this, even in isolation, resilience can be born. Sometimes solitude is the place where your greatest strength is discovered. It is in the silence of your battles that you hear the voice inside telling you keep going. That inner voice becomes louder the more you trust it. And it becomes the anchor that holds you steady when the waves try to toss you around. Resilience gives you the ability to walk through fire and come out not burned but refined, not broken but unshakable. We often think resilience means never falling apart, but that is not true. Real resilience is falling, breaking, and still finding a way to stand again. It is crying but wiping your tears and continuing anyway. It is doubting yourself but still showing up. Resilience doesn't mean you will never feel pain, fear, or exhaustion. It means you refuse to let those feelings stop you from moving forward. It is the stubborn belief that no matter how bad it gets, you still have more inside of you to give. That belief is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, dreamers, and achievers. It is what makes the difference between those who quit and those who conquer. The beauty of resilience is that it does not only transform you, but it also inspires those around you. When people see you keep standing after storms that should have knocked you out, they begin to believe in their own strength too. Your story of endurance becomes someone else's motivation. Your ability to rise from the ashes gives others hope that they too can overcome their own fires. Resilience spreads. It creates a ripple effect that touches lives far beyond through your own. Sometimes your greatest impact on the world will not be through your achievements, but through your survival. People may forget your victories, but they will never forget how you stood strong when life tried to break you. To become resilient, you must shift your perspective on challenges. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Pain becomes purposeful when you use it as a teacher. Every setback is a lesson wrapped in difficulty. Every delay is a test of patience, and every disappointment is a redirection to something greater. Life is not happening against you. It is happening for you, shaping you into the person you are destined to become. Resilience is about trusting that process even when you do not understand it. It is about believing that the storm you are in is not permanent, but the strength you build in it will last forever. So when you face your next challenge, and you will, because life guarantees it, do not shrink back. Do not let fear convince you that you are not capable. Stand tall, even if your knees are shaking. Face the storm, even if your heart is pounding. Remember that you are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more capable than you realize. The very fact that you are still standing after everything you have already been through is proof that you are resilient. Do not waste that proof. Use it to fuel your future battles. You have already overcome so much. Why would you stop now? Resilience is not, it is about waiting for life to get easier. It is about becoming stronger for the life you want to build. It is about refusing to let the storms of yesterday dictate the sunshine of tomorrow. The world may throw challenges at you, but you have the power to rise above them. Every hardship you endure, every storm you survive, every battle you win, whether in silence or in front of the world, adds to the unshakable strength within you. And when you look back, you will not just see the storms you went through, you will see the warrior you became because of them. That is the gift of resilience, the ability to transform pain into power, struggle into strength, and storms into stepping stones. That is how you not only survive life's challenges, but thrive because of them. As we come to the end of this journey, it is important to take a step back and realize what all of this truly means for your life. A, speech, no matter how powerful, will only have meaning if it moves from your ears to your heart and from your heart to your actions. The ending is not about just wrapping things up. It is about pushing you to make a choice, a decision that will define where you go from here. Too many people hear words, feel inspired for a moment, and then return to their old ways. But if you want your life to change, if you want to create a legacy that matters, the conclusion of this speech is not the finish line. It is the starting point. You have to understand that greatness is not something reserved for the chosen few. It is not about luck, privilege, or fate. It is about those who choose to stay committed when others quit, those who refuse to accept mediocrity when comfort comes knocking, those who decide that their story is too important to leave unfinished. Your conclusion begins with A, the decision to no longer tolerate average. If you are tired of living a life that feels half-lived, then this is the moment to draw the line in the sand and declare that from today forward, you will operate on a different level. The reality is this: life is going to keep throwing challenges your way. There will always be difficulties, setbacks, disappointments, and heartbreak. But those are not signs to stop. They are signals that you are still alive, still in the fight, still on the path that requires you to grow. Every great person you admire has gone through storms that would have broken most people. The difference is they refused to let those storms define them. They understood that pain can be a prison or a passport. It can lock you down or it can propel you forward. The conclusion of this message is about embracing the idea that whatever you have gone through, it has not come to destroy you. It has come to shape you. Think about your dreams, the ones you sometimes hide from others because they feel too big or too impossible. The truth is, those dreams were placed in your heart for a reason. They are not accidents. They are not fantasies. They are assignments. You have a responsibility to honor those dreams, to give them everything you've got, because they are not just about you. They're about the people connected to your destiny. Someone out there is waiting for your courage, your innovation, your voice, your vision. If you quit, you don't just rob yourself, you rob them too. So as you leave this moment, understand that pursuing your dream is not optional, it's necessary. This is the moment where excuses must die. Excuses have no place in the life of someone who has decided to rise above average. They only serve to keep you stuck in the same cycles, year after year, watching others pass you by. The conclusion you must draw today is that you will take full responsibility for your life. No more pointing fingers. No more waiting for perfect timing. No more blaming circumstances. You cannot control what happens around you, but you can control how you respond. And your response will determine your results. Let this message settle deeply. Discipline will take you further than motivation ever will. Motivation comes and goes. It is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning even when the spark is gone. If you rely only on motivation, you'll move inconsistently. But if you build discipline, you'll move steadily, day after day, regardless of feelings. That is how greatness is built, not in grand moments of excitement, but in the small, consistent actions that nobody sees. Your future will be written not by what you do occasionally, but by what you do daily. Now, let's talk about resilience. Resilience is not just bouncing back, it is bouncing forward. It is about learning from every setback, carrying the lesson, and stepping back into the arena stronger. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will face rejection. But resilience is what will separate you from the rest. Many people let failure convince them that they are not good enough. But the truth is, failure is simply feedback. It is telling you what needs adjusting, what needs refining, what needs more effort. Resilient people don't fear failure. They use it as fuel. And that is exactly what you must do moving forward. The conclusion of this journey must also remind you about the power of vision. Without vision, life becomes aimless. You wake up, go through the motions, and end up years down the line wondering where the time went. But with vision, every day has purpose. Every action is connected to something bigger. When you know where you are going, you can endure the struggle because you understand it is temporary. When the weight feels heavy, vision reminds you why you started. Do not leave this moment without clarifying your vision. Write it down, speak it out, and let it guide every choice you make. At the end of the day, greatness is not about applause, recognition, or titles. It is about impact. It is about how many lives you touch, how many people you lifted, how many doors you open for others. If you live only for yourself, your life will be small. But if you live with the intention of leaving this world better than you found it, then your legacy will outlive you. That is the ultimate conclusion you must hold on to. You are here to serve, to give, to inspire, to make a difference. So as we close, ask yourself, what will you do differently after hearing this? Will you go back to life as usual, or will you decide that this was the turning point? The conclusion cannot just be words. It has to be action. If you feel something stirring inside you, don't ignore it. That is the signal that it's time to move. Don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. Start now. Make the call. Take the step. Write the plan. Begin again. This is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the invitation for you to step into the next level of who you are meant to be. Do not let fear stop you. Do not let doubt silence you. Do not let the comfort of average steal your destiny. You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more capable than you realize. Everything you need to rise is already inside you. All that is left is for you to decide. So walk out of this moment with courage. Walk out with fire. Walk out with the determination that nothing and no one will stop you. This is your life, your story, your time. Make it count. Because when it's all said and done, the only regret you will ever have is not that you tried and failed, but that you never tried at all. Choose to rise, choose to fight, choose to finish strong. The conclusion is clear. Your future begins now.